Perfect.
So, hello and welcome to the New Gig Podcast. I'm your host, Glenn Hodgson, and today I'm delighted to be joined by freelancer Laura Lange. How are you doing, Laura?
Hi, Glenn. I am doing very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. Now, Laura, thanks for being on the program, and it would be great to hear a little bit about sort of yourself, your background, your journey, and the steps that you've taken over the months and years in terms of deciding what kind of lifestyle, what kind of work style you want, and the changes that made you move away from the traditional 9 to 5 mindset, but also the structure.
Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, I have a cat here on my lap. So if she's like making all sorts of noises, that's why.
Don't worry.
And I think that's just it really goes with the whole way of, working from home and being in your space and the animals and the kids and whatnot. What do you have? But so to answer your questions, I come from a legal background. I was like the traditional straight A student going straight from high school to university in Denmark, doing 5 years of law studies, doing all the crazy legal jobs from I was 19 years old. Like everything was perfect, everything was amazing, and I got all the jobs that I wanted. But I think along the way I was also like, this is a lot. Like I had been working so hard to get to this point, and I was finding myself working on cases where I was like, this is so overwhelming. I have too much responsibility. And at the end of the month, it's like, okay, I get paid this amazing salary, but I actually don't have time to go out and enjoy it because I'm just so overwhelmed with work. And I wanted to see if there was another way that I could do this. And thankfully, like I think it's really valuable to be inside a 9 to 5 and work with people that have more experience and they can kind of show you the way. But it's
Mm,
also really good, like confidence wise, to get to a point where you're like, okay, I have all these skills. Let me see what I can go out and create for myself with everything that I've learned now. And I think I've probably done it a little bit earlier than what most lawyers would do.
mm,
It I like it can still be scary because like the biggest question I would get is like, what are you going to do if you can't answer that question, or like you don't have anyone who can help you out? And that was my biggest concern. But at the same time, I'm just working to build that network that I used to have of colleagues, that now I'm just building it online with different lawyers from all over the world. And um, we're helping each other out as good as we can.
excellent. And how is it in terms of the difference between, because you've got a ability to compare and contrast between a an office job and the more free, more open situation that you have today. What are the sort of the what are the big differences apart from colleagues and having sort of a team around you, would you say?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that actually bothered me inside my 9 to 5, and especially as a lawyer, there's this expectation that you're available pretty much 24/7. And
Mm,
a lot of corporations and general law firms work with these kinds of chat systems where people can tell, your colleagues can tell if you're available or if you've been away from your laptop for X amount of minutes, and it just starts ticking and your status goes yellow, and maybe it tells that you're in a meeting or something. And I would find it actually super stressful. And this was something that people didn't really talk about in the office, but I've talked to a lot of people outside of offices, and I've talked about this on my social media channels as well. That is like, okay, if I go for a 40-minute lunch break, or if I'm working from home and I need to like take care of something and then I'll be back, it was constantly in the back of my mind, like I'm not in front of my laptop, people can't get a hold of me. Like maybe they could give me a call on my phone, but I would always be like worried that what if there's an emergency and I'm not there to take care of it. And I think it's that thing in 9 to 5 that it's like you're only productive if you're sitting in front of your screen, which
mm.
I actually don't believe to be the case, because the type of work I do now, there's a lot of creation and creativity, and I can sit in front of an Excel sheet and be like, okay, I just want to get the ideas out of my head, but they're not flowing. And as soon as I pop on my headphones and I go for a walk, I'm like, here it is, and everything is flowing to me. But that's not really a way of working that's like approved in the traditional office lifestyle, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely not. Still, it's the mindset and the shift that needs to happen. And the idea of being able to sort of be always on, always linked in. I mean, there's a lot of people who find that quite stressful. This idea of sort of micromanaging and having this oversight of when, where, and how you're working. Do you think that's something that's changing, or is it still something that's embedded in corporate culture?
I think it really depends who you're working for, because I've had
Mm.
managers that were super micromanaging and I've had managers that were like, just do your thing. But I think it's also part of the culture that we see other people working hard and then it's like, oh, then I probably also have to work hard, otherwise I'm not worthy. Like there's especially young women that come to these conclusions, and
Yeah.
it's a tricky environment to be in, because a lot of these, like I mainly work with young women also in, like I have the yoga and the more coaching side of my business.
Mm,
And a lot of these women come to me and they're like, they're already so hard on themselves. They're already like, I have to do this and I have to do that. And if I'm not succeeding, then everything will just crash and burn. And then when you find yourself in an environment where it's like you also get that pressure externally and you already have it internally from yourself, it just becomes really toxic to work in that way.
mm. And this is something that's probably is not helped by office culture or corporate setup sometimes. Instead of sort of alleviating some of these problems, it feeds on that and actually really fires up some of these negative, toxic feelings that really sort of can, I think, if not destroy, then certainly poison the office and the work environment.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it it can also come up even when you work as a freelancer or when you work on your own business. It really comes down to having like basic life skills and sustainable habits to like deal with the stuff that comes up, because working for yourself is hard, but working for someone else is also hard. So it's like
Mm.
kind of choose where do you want to put your focus, but then at the same time work to get strategies and mindset tools in place that can support you no matter what type of difficult work you're doing.
Mm, yeah, because there's no shortcuts. Whether you're a freelancer, whether you're a 9 to 5 worker, I think to get on and to have a good working life and do enjoyable, interesting projects, you have to work hard. I think there's no sort of shortcut around that. I mean, you need to sort of give the commitment, the dedication, but also the sparks of creativity on entrepreneurship as well, which are important within the within this journey. I mean, just tell the sort of the viewers and listeners a little bit about the kind of projects and the kind of work that you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, so as I said, my business kind of have two different legs to stand on. Everything is running through the same company at the moment. I'm like thinking
Yeah,
about, should I split it up? But really, I because I have this background as a lawyer and I've built my online business for yoga, I was like, okay, I have a lot of skills. Like, how can I actually structure this in a way that
mm,
makes sense and that I get to work on projects that are fun? So first of all, on the yoga side of my business is where I'm building like a really sort of like a traditional online business with like I have different offers at different price levels. I have some free offers like meditations, those kinds of things. I
yeah,
have low ticket yoga programs that people can buy. And then it goes all the way up to one-to-one mentorship containers where it's like I get on calls with people and we work through different challenges.
yeah,
Um, but then at the same time, as I was building this, I was realizing, wow, there's so much work that actually goes into building an online business. There's so many different things and hats you need to put on. And because I had that legal background, I was like, hey, I actually need a set of terms and conditions for my website. And I knew exactly how to write that because I've specialized in commercial contracts. So I just sat down one
there
afternoon
we
and I was
go.
like, okay, let's power through. Let's write this down. And I was like, there are so many online business owners and online coaches and everything, freelancers out there who have websites, they have online presences, but they would have no clue how to sit down and write this kind of stuff. Or if you're working as a consultant for a company or
Yeah,
one-on-one with clients and you really want to like map out what are the services, how's the payment going to work, all that kind of stuff. So at the same time, first of all, I was like, I'm going to go out and freelance, do legal work. And I was working for different types of legal clients that were coming through online platforms like Upwork and similar things we have in
Yeah.
Denmark. But I also figured that like, okay, I want to get really specific on the type of legal clients that I'm working with. So I decided to help especially female online business owners get this kind of legal protection in terms of contracts
Mm,
sorted. So right now I'm working with, like what I really enjoy is working with more creative online business owners. So people that are in the space of like content creation, ghostwriting, helping other people build their marketing strategies. They have this super like feminine side to their business. But as soon as I get on calls with them and I ask them like, do you have a separate business bank account? Do you have insurance? Do you have your company set up? They go like, do I need to have that stuff in place as well to be a freelancer or to be an online business owner?
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you kind of need that stuff. And what I've seen is that while I can be the lawyer and talk about like, well, we need to have the indemnification clause and we need to choose your venue and blah, 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 it often ends up becoming like a mix of coaching and legal advice at the same time, because as a freelancer, as a business owner, there's so many things we got to keep in mind, and it can be super overwhelming. And if you don't have someone to sort of help you and hold your hand through that process, it's just not always a pleasant experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that helping people make a business out of their passion is something that's often forgotten. People want to sort of get away with the idea that they're indulging their sort of creative side and the things that they need to do. But whether
Yeah.
it's boring or not, you need to have the contracts in place. You need to set up the rules of the road. Need to make sure that you have the sort of the bank account, pay your taxes, all these kind of things that are so important as well. And I think that that helping hand is a really interesting, an important element to that. So it's great that you're offering these services. And how would you say that the advent of digitalization has sort of changed not just sort of the possibilities for you to actually sort of have this lifestyle, but also to reach new clients and partners so that you can deliver activities and projects to them?
Yeah, I would say like I've been blown away by the power of social media actually, because when I was in my 9 to 5, social media was something I would get on as a consumer, and I would like be
Right.
bored in my job and I would scroll videos, or I would come home from work and be like, oh my gosh, I just need to sit down and like not think about anything, and I would scroll. And I've turned that completely upside down, because now I'm working on social media. It's like putting content out every single day is an important part of my job, and it's incredible actually that we have these platforms available for free. Most places you don't even need to pay for a subscription, and you can start building a following. You can start putting your opinions and beliefs and your offers out there. But it's really, I think I see so many people writing about this, especially on LinkedIn, also on Instagram for that matter, like, what should I post? Like, what do you guys want to see? And I'm like, there is a strategy that goes into this, that if you sit down and actually learn how to do this, learn how to create content in a way that leads people into your office, you can save so much time basically and get on social media, onto like these digital platforms, and market yourself for free,
Mm,
without having to like spend a million hours just like searching for ideas. So I think it's really empowering. And like I'm sitting, for instance, I'm working from Greece on a remote mountain outside of Athens, and it's mind blowing to me that I can just get up behind my desk every day, pet my little cat on the mountain, and connect with people from all over the world who are like, Laura, I want to work with you on this, that, or the other. And I'm like, this is
yeah.
insane. And that was just, I really had to wrap my head around that that's an option. And I can still get on calls. Like yesterday, I was on a call with my bank, and they were like, wow, there've been a lot of changes to your situation. And I can hear like how skeptic they are. Like, so
Okay.
what exactly are you doing? Like, is that possible? And I'm like, yeah, but it takes a little bit of expanding your mindset and pulling yourself out of that box of like, work looks like this and I get my
Yeah.
paycheck and that's it. Yeah.
And I guess within that, so the increased importance of building a digital presence for yourself, but also for your companies and the services that you offer to organizations and companies.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, I think that's everything. I still come across, especially because now I'm here in Greece and I see a lot of businesses operating the traditional way. They don't have a website, they don't have an online presence. And I'm like,
Mm.
guys, you need to get on board because I think there've also been studies that show that a lot of consumers go on to social media and check, okay, I want to buy something from this company. What is their digital or online presence? What do they talk about in their social media? And it's only once they've had a chance to sort of browse through some of that content and they're like, okay, now I feel comfortable making this decision to purchase. So I
Mm.
think a lot of like even small business owners, but also larger businesses, if they don't have a digital presence, I think they're losing out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And need to be there. And also the channels, because there's various things. There's having the website, but the social media channels as well. Which are the ones that you find the most effective from kind of a brand building, but also reaching out to sort of companies and organizations perspective?
Yeah, so I really like the idea of mastering one platform before you move on to another one because it
Okay.
can be so overwhelming.
Mm.
So I started on Instagram, and I think for me that was a really great place to start building a brand because it's a lot of videos and colors and you can change the fonts and everything. Whereas on LinkedIn, it's a little bit more like black text on a white background, and that's kind of it. And as soon as I've posted a selfie, I've had lawyers go like, aren't you a little full of yourself for posting selfies on LinkedIn? And I'm like, no, it's part of building your brand. So I started on Instagram and learning the whole strategy behind content creation. And then when I got comfortable with that, I was like, I think I can do a little bit more. I moved on to LinkedIn
Yep.
and just comparing those two platforms because sometimes I post the same piece of content both places and on Instagram, like the engagement, at least for my profile, it's been quite low lately. And on
Mm.
LinkedIn, it's like things go viral within no time. And I think what I've learned from LinkedIn now is that there's also so much that goes into like the strategy with engaging on other people's posts and building relationships, whereas on Instagram it can be a little bit more like people are just scrolling and swiping by.
Yeah.
And another thing is the attention span that if you post too much text on Instagram, people are just like, no, I'm out. I can't read all of this. But on LinkedIn, people are like a little bit more serious. And it's like, I sit here with my coffee and it's kind of like browsing the newspaper. And what does this person have to say today? There's a little bit more attention. So for me, I would say the mix of both platforms obviously is a really big help, but
Yeah.
LinkedIn has really set fire to my business personally, I would say.
Absolutely. And where do you normally sort of search for your clients? Is it really multinational? Is it Denmark? Is it Greece? Or is it really from everywhere in terms of the type of clients and projects that you're getting activity from? Hi, we've got an issue there. I think we've got sort of a Greek connection issue there.
We do, but I think I got your question. Like you're asking where I'm getting my clients from, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
actually, yeah. So the nature of my business is online and worldwide. So
Yep.
I don't limit myself to one specific country. In terms of my yoga side of the business, I work with people from all over the world, and whomever is finding my content, they come to me if they resonate with what I have to say. I don't do any cold outreach, like writing messages to people. Everything is running through my content
Yeah.
and I talk to the people that come to me.
Yeah.
But on the
That's
legal side, it's a little bit more complicated. And this is
mm,
kind of the issue I've seen in the market. Um, because there is this big issue of like, okay, I'm a lawyer, I'm educated in Denmark, so how can you help someone who has a company incorporated somewhere else? But the
mm,
thing is, a lot of online business owners, they find themselves in this pet peeve right now. You can have, like, just take me as an example. I'm from Denmark. My business right now is incorporated in Denmark. I work from Greece, but I also have clients from the US, for instance, in both sides of my business. And it's like, how exactly do we go about that? So what I've done is I've teamed up with, like right now I'm building a referral network of other lawyers. So if I do legal work for a client who's not incorporated in Denmark, I will
Interesting.
have an
Yeah.
attorney or a lawyer from that country double check the work that I'm doing. Either I'll pull them in, or I'll say to the client, you need to get this approved by a local attorney because I cannot do the national law review part for you.
Mm.
So that's such a big topic. And I think that's really where it's kind of like there are so many freelancers and online business owners who are like, okay, I know I need to get the legal stuff sorted, but like if I just were to go around the corner and step into the first local Greek law office I could find in this little village where I'm living, they would look at me and be like, what exactly is it you're doing inside of your business? You
Yeah.
can't earn money like this. And they would say to me, we can't help you, go somewhere else. So
Mm.
that's where I'm mixing sort of my industry knowledge and expertise with the legal knowledge I have from commercial contracts. And I think it makes sense. Like I'm really niche with the legal clients that I work with. I have all the templates and the contracts sorted out. I know exactly what these documents should include, so I
Mm.
can save them a lot of time there. And then just adding usually a national law review. It's not that big a deal because all the documents are already taken care of. It's just sort of like a run through for a lawyer to say, you just need to add this little thing in here because we have this thing in the I don't know, Finnish legislation that says X, Y, Z, we'll add that in and your documents are good to go. But you can save so much time this way.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking about sort of the positive side, there are so many options to allow you to work from where you want to. You've got the as long as you have an internet connection, you can find clients, you can carry out work for partners. But are there any negative sides to the kind of more freelance, open talent lifestyle that you've encountered over the recent times? I think we've had a pause issue again, but no, just asking about any of the drawbacks, any of the negative elements to this. Laura, have we got a connection issue? Can you still hear me?
I think I'm back. If you could repeat that question, that would be
Yeah.
great.
No, of course. No, I was just
Sorry.
asking about any of the downsides to the freelancer lifestyle that you've encountered so far.
Yeah, and I think this is actually a really good question, and it's important to draw attention to because there's so much stuff going of like content online where it's like, digital nomading, online business, freelancing, it's just amazing. But there
Yeah.
are definitely downsides to it. Like I think loneliness is one of the biggest things to
Okay.
talk about because like I'm quite an introverted person. It doesn't really come across online because I'm like putting things out there, but I'm the type of person who gets energy from being inside my own company. So um so for me getting up in the morning and doing work for myself without having to go out and engage with colleagues and everything, that works really well for me. But if you're a super extroverted person, having to sit 8+ hours a day at home or at a cafe with your headphones on in your own company, that can actually be draining. So for me, it's been really important to make sure that I have kind of like a network of friends and family here in Greece that I can connect with
Yeah.
to make sure that like you leave the office at home and like I always go for a workout to meet up with some people there and have some conversations and structure your day in a way where you know, okay, maybe I've been sitting in my own company for 8 hours, but now it's time that I go out and like engage with people, not just through a screen, because like that is super
Exactly.
important for our health as well.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it is to have that balance because we need to be able to have our the focus time, the ability to be able to concentrate on activities and projects, but also the stimulation from different sides, personally and professionally, is still
Yeah.
something that's important and something that we need to a lesser or greater degrees. And it's really been a pleasure actually having you on, listening to your story, and wish you all the success for the future as well. And great that you've made the step and are thriving on the back of the changes and the lifestyle choices you've made.
Thank you so much, Glenn. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.